Hello everyone, welcome to your physics class. This is your physics teacher. Hope you all are good. Previously you have learnt about the curved mirrors, which are of two types, concave mirror and convex mirrors. So let us have a recap of that. A concave mirror is that whose reflecting side is towards the center of the mirror and the outer side is the silvered surface. Or we can say that a spherical mirror with an inner hollow concave surface which acts as the reflecting surface, and the outer surface, that is silvered surface, is also known as the opaque outer surface. So that type of mirror is known as concave mirror. And in case of convex mirror, the inner surface of the mirror is the opaque or the silvered surface and the outer surface is the reflecting surface. So now we are going to learn about some terms which are related to the spherical mirrors. So first one is the aperture. Aperture is the diameter of the mirror from which the reflection of light takes place. Diameter means this AB part of the mirror, from A to B, is known as the aperture. Or we can say that the surface of the mirror from which the reflection of light takes place is called an aperture. And the reflecting surface here is AB. Similarly, in case of concave mirror, this is also AB. Now next is pole. The geometrical center of a spherical mirror is called pole. This is the geometrical center of concave mirror, that is represented by pole, and this is the geometrical center of convex mirror, which is also represented by P. Now it is always present in the middle of the aperture of the mirror. You can see that it is always present in the middle of the aperture of the mirror. Next one is center of curvature. Center of curvature is the center of the hollow sphere of which the mirror forms of a part. It is the center of the hollow sphere of which, this is a hollow sphere and this is the center of this hollow sphere. So this is the center of the hollow sphere of which this mirror forms a part, that is known as center of curvature. Similarly, in this case, the center of curvature will be this, the center of the hollow sphere of which the convex mirror forms a part, and it is always denoted by capital C. Now next is radius of curvature. What is radius of curvature? The distance from the center of curvature to the pole for concave mirror or convex mirror, that is same, that is known as radius of curvature, the distance between center of curvature and pole, and it is denoted by R. So here Cp is equal to R, the distance Cp is equal to R, or the radius of curvature. Similar is the case for convex mirror, the distance Cp is equal to R, or the radius of curvature. Next is principal axis. The principal axis is just a line which passes through the center of curvature and the pole of the spherical mirror, or we can say it is an imaginary line which we have imagined that passes through the center of curvature and the pole of the spherical mirror. So this is the principal axis. This line is the principal axis. Similarly, in this convex mirror, this line will be the principal axis. Next is the focus or focal point. So what is focus? To understand this, let us consider a concave mirror and then convex mirror. This is the concave mirror. You can see whenever a parallel beam of light travels parallel to the principal axis and falls on the surface of the spherical mirror, then the rays will meet at a point after reflection. Here you can see parallel rays of light are coming from an object which is located at infinity. So when these parallel rays of light will fall on the reflecting surface of the concave mirror, then what happens? They will bounce off from the surface, and like this ray will reflected like this, this will be reflected like this. Similarly, the other rays, and after reflection they will meet at the same point, or the rays will appear to meet, or the rays will actually meet. So in this case, the rays are actually meeting at a single point, and that point is known as principal focus of the mirror. So what is it? when a beam of light traveling parallel to the principal axis falls on the surface of a spherical mirror, the rays of light will meet or appear to meet at a point after reflection. This point is known as the principal focus of the mirror. So in concave mirror, the reflected rays actually meet or converge at a point. These converge at a point, and this point is known as the principal focus of the concave mirror. But if we talk about the convex mirror, then in this case, when a rays of parallel light is allowed to, when a beam of parallel rays allowed to fall on the reflecting surface of the convex mirror, then what happens? The reflection of the rays of light will take place like this. This ray will be reflected in this way, and similarly these rays will be reflected. So when we draw these lines behind the mirror, then, or when we produce these lines behind the mirror, then they will meet at the point. They will appear to meet. They will not actually meet, but they will appear to meet at a single point, which is known as the focus or principal focus of the convex mirror. So in this case, you can see that the rays of light are appearing to diverge from this point. So that's why this is all known as the diverging mirror. So this is the principal focus of the convex mirror. Now what is focal length? And one thing more, that focus is always denoted by the capital letter F. So what is focal length now? The focal length is the distance between the focus and the pole of the curved mirror. Or for concave mirror, we will define that the distance between the focus and pole of the concave mirror is known as focal length of concave mirror, and similarly in case of convex mirror, the distance between focus and pole of the convex mirror is known as the focal length of the convex mirror, and it is denoted by the letter small f. So in spherical mirrors, the focus F will always lie in the center of the line joining the center of curvature and the pole P. If it lies at the center, then we know that this distance is the distance from the center of curvature and the pole is known as the radius of curvature, and this distance is the focal length. But if it lies at the center, then this distance will also be the focal length. So we can write that F plus F will be equal to R. This F plus this F will be equal to the total R. So we can write that 2F is equal to R, or we can write that F is equal to R by 2. So this is the relation between focal length and the radius of curvature. We can write that F is equal to R by 2. So remember this relation, then we can use this relation to calculate the focal length if the radius of curvature of the mirror is given, or if focal length is given, then we can calculate the radius of curvature by just multiplying the focal length by 2. Similar is the relation for the convex mirror also. This is for concave mirror as well as for convex mirror, because in that case also the focal length or the focus will be in the center. So the focal length, double the focal length will be equal to the radius of curvature, and F will be equal to R by 2 in this case also. Now next there is a quick check 3. True or false? The geometrical center of a spherical mirror is called focus. No, it is known as the pole. So it is false. The relationship between the focal length and radius of curvature is given by F is equal to 2R. It is wrong because it is 2F is equal to R. So it is also false. The mirror that has silvered concave surface is called concave mirror. The mirror which has silvered convex surface, not concave surface, because that concave surface is the reflecting surface. Concave means the inner one is the reflecting surface. Inner surface is known as concave, while the outer surface is known as the type of convex. So the inner surface here is the reflecting, but the convex surface here is the silvered surface. So this is also false because the concave surface is reflecting, or it is not silvered. That means it is false. Principal axis is an imaginary line that passes through the center of curvature and the pole of the spherical mirror. Yes, it is true. The distance between the pole and center of curvature is called focal length. No, it is called radius of curvature. So it is also false. Concave mirror has the shape of a piece cut out of a hollow glass sphere? Yes, it is true. Concave mirror has the shape of a piece cut out of a hollow glass sphere. The surface of the mirror at which the reflection of light takes place is called reflecting surface. True. The center of the hollow sphere of which the mirror was a part is commonly called an image. No, it is false, because the center of the hollow sphere of which the mirror was a part is commonly known as center of curvature. Now next topic is real and virtual images. So what are real and virtual images? Let me explain with the help of an example. As we see our image in the mirrors that we use regularly at our home, and we can see our image, we can not touch, but simply we can see it, and if it is of the same size as that of our size, or we can say that the image formed by the plane mirror, the mirror that we use at our home is known as plane mirror. So the image formed by the plane mirror is always erect. Erect means if the object is like this, then the image will also be like this. It is upright. And similarly, the image formed by the plane mirror is at the same distance as the object is in front of the plane mirror, as you have learnt in the 7th class. And the size of the object or the size of the image will be equal to the size of the object. So these are the characteristics of the image formed by a plane mirror. So that image which is an upright image and which cannot be produced on a screen, because we cannot produce our screen on any cardboard or any other surface or any other screen. So that image formed by the plane mirror is known as the virtual image. The image formed by the plane mirror is known as virtual image because it cannot be produced on a screen and it is a upright image. So that is known as the virtual image. But if you talk about the image formed by a projector, then in that case the projector projects the image on a screen. So that image will be a real image. But real images are always inverted images. But the question arises that if these are inverted images, then how a projector produces or projects a upright image on the screen? We are able to see the objects in an upright direction, because in the projector there are two lenses used which are known as concave and convex mirror lenses that convert the image into a real image, but that image will be an upright image. So in this way we can see the upright images in that projector. And now we will talk about that what is the nature of the real images. Real images are inverted images, as I have explained, and these can be produced on a screen, and they are formed on the location where light rays actually meet. The image which are produced when the light rays actually meet are known as real images, but the virtual images are those which appear in which the light rays appear to meet. So this is the basic difference, and this kind of image is formed by the concave mirror depends upon the position of the object. So here example is written that whenever a plane mirror or convex mirror creates an image, the reflector rays only appear to come from a point, that are known as virtual images, and the point is located behind the mirror where the reflector rays do not really meet. Hence the image formed by a plane mirror or convex mirror is a virtual image. But we can say that the real images are actually made by the concave mirrors, which are depending upon the position of the object. So what is the difference between real and virtual images? Real image is the image which can be produced on a screen and it can be obtained on a screen. It is always inverted or upside down. It is always upright or erect image. Rays of light meet at a point after getting reflected by the reflecting surface, but in this case rays of light appear to meet at a point after getting reflected by the reflecting surface. Next is the image formed is in front of the mirror. In this case the image formed is behind the mirror, as we will see in the next section how image formed is in front of the mirror and how the image formed is behind the mirror. So next is the image formation by the spherical mirrors. How the spherical mirrors form the image. So as we know that image formed by a plane mirror is virtual, erect and has the same size as that of the object, and it is located far behind the mirror at the same distance as the object is in front of the mirror. But the nature of image formed by the spherical mirrors is not the same as that by the plane mirror. So what is the difference? We will see here. The characteristics of an image formed by the spherical mirror, it depends upon the nature of the mirror. किस तरह के mirror है, whether it is concave mirror or convex mirror. It depends upon the focal length of the mirror also, and the distance of the object from the pole of the mirror also, or where the object is placed. So in order to find the characteristics of the image formed by ray diagrams are introduced. So what are ray diagrams? Ray diagrams represent the formation of image with the help of the rays which are drawn or which are used to see the reflection of the rays of light. Now there are some rules for drawing a ray diagram. These rules are as first is we know that infinite number of rays of light travel from a point on an object. So to draw a ray diagram, we must consider at least 2 rays of light for the sake of convenience. Means if we place any object, then infinite rays of light will emerge from a point on an object. But for drawing a ray diagram, we will consider only 2 rays of light. Next, the reflecting surface of the mirror should be always be facing towards the left. It should always be facing towards the left, means this side, and we will also draw the convex mirror or in this direction. So in that case, convex mirror can be represented like this, and the reflecting surface is on that side. So we will always place the object on the left of the convex mirror or on the concave mirror. The object should always be kept in front of the reflecting surface in such a way that its foot always touches the principal axis and it is perpendicular to the principal axis. As I have drawn here, that the object should be placed like this in front of the mirrors. In this case, the object will be here and it should touch the foot of the principal axis. Its foot should touch the principal axis. Similarly, in this case, the foot of the object will touch the principal axis. So these are some rules for drawing a ray diagram. Now next is construction of images using ray diagrams. So for construction, any two of the following rays can be considered. In order to obtain nature of the image formed by the spherical mirrors, we know that there can be a number of rays of light, but we will consider any two of the rays of light. So that 4 cases are as follows: a ray of light, a ray traveling parallel to the principal axis, a ray passing through the principal focus, a ray passing through the center of curvature, and a ray incident at the pole of the mirror. So we will learn about this topic in detail in the next video. I hope you will understand these topics. Thank you.